Welcome back to another Legally Armed America video. I'm, of course, Paul Glasgow here. Hey, guys, a quick reminder, if you don't mind, please like, share, subscribe to the channel if you like what you see right here. I do my best to do pretty in-depth searches into the lies from the media and the politicians out there, and obviously it takes a little bit of work, so I appreciate all of you guys for always watching the videos and, of course, liking and subscribing and sharing with your friends and family members who might have like-minded views on a lot of these same topics. I want to pretty much continue on to a little bit of what I put out yesterday on the U.S. aid. And I want to say that because when I went back and looked at the video, it sounded like I kept saying USA. I'm saying U.S. aid, the expenses. We've seen this. This has been a hot topic since last week. And it's actually getting a lot hotter right now because a lot of people's gravy train is being exposed right now. And they're seeing this money disappear. And you're really starting to see who is making all the money off of your money and my money out there. Now, you guys will remember that a little over a week ago, Donald Trump halted all of this unnecessary spending. And I say unnecessary because most of it, if not all of it, is unnecessary. But he halted all spending, froze all spending from U.S. aid a little over a week ago. Well, it came out that as of last Friday, upwards to $6 million of money as of January 31st, was still going out the door to U.S. aid in South Africa. These people are defying Donald Trump's initiatives. They are doing whatever they want anyway. This is an exact example, precise example of why I have stressed that Donald Trump screwed up in his first term by not rooting out everybody. You gotta gut out that rot. You got to dig down to the rot and dig it all out, get rid of it, and in many cases, just start over. So at this point, this is proof of that. Even though Donald Trump is the president for the next 4 years, these people are defying him and still pushing that $6 million of money out the door. No telling what else is going out the door right now, because these people are rotten to the core and they have support throughout the federal government. Let's not forget that most of us recognize U.S. aid as a $40 billion plus organization that simply funds these CIA initiatives to destabilize governments across the globe. That's what this is. It's a massive money laundering scheme and a slush fund for the CIA. It doesn't really help anybody. In fact, it has come out that only about 10% of the $40 billion a year that goes out to these agencies actually gets to the people it's trying to help. You see these kids with flies flying all around them in Africa. You wonder how come nobody is taking care of them. Well, we send billions of dollars there to take care of them and eradicate those flies from flying around these starving children. Thing is, money never gets to them. They get a bowl of rice every now and then, and it's pretty much the extent of it. We have a lot of people getting very rich off of this $40 billion that we send out there. And again, these people are starting to reveal themselves now because they're getting really mad. Here's Jamie Raskin getting really mad today.
Elon Musk, you didn't create U.S. aid. The United States Congress did for the American people.
Okay, he's wrong about that. He's making an attempt to rewrite history and tell you that Congress created U.S. aid. Well, I think he's probably done his own research, so he knows that he's wrong here. He's partially right, but mostly wrong. Let me explain this to you. In September 1961, John F. Kennedy signed into law, which Congress did in fact pass, the Foreign Assistance Act of 1961. Which mandated the establishment of a single agency for the coordination of foreign assistance. So, what this act was in 1961, which was passed by Congress, was simply approving an organization that had not been named yet. There was no U.S. aid. This bill, this act that was signed into law by JFK in 1961 that was passed by Congress, was not to create U.S. aid. It was to mandate the establishment of a single agency for the coordination of foreign assistance. Look at the next line. The Agency for International Development, which became U.S. aid, was established under the Executive Order 10973 assumed responsibility for the disbursement of capital and technical assistance to developing nations. This was not an act or a bill passed by Congress. This was an executive order signed as a result of the bill passed by Congress. These are two separate things. The act that allowed this to be created was passed by Congress. The actual creation of U.S. aid was not created by Congress. It was an executive order by John F. Kennedy. Executive orders can be created and they can be done away with by who? The people who did this. The president. Not Congress. The president. So Mr. Raskin is wrong about this. Congress did not create U.S. aid. They created the act that allowed the creation of it, which then was in turn created by an executive order by the president, meaning it can be undone by a president. Now Raskin runs his mouth a little bit more. Here's what else he had to say.
And just like Elon Musk did not create U.S. aid, he doesn't have the power to destroy it. And who's going to stop him? We are. We're going to stop him.
No, you're not. But this is the funny thing. You know what Elon Musk is doing with U.S. aid? He's not destroying it. He's essentially a hired consultant, is all he is. Working for free, by the way. He's auditing it. These people are this mad about an audit. Look, when you get this angry because somebody is looking into your books, you got something to hide. This tells me everything I need to know about these people. Everybody is getting rich over there. When you have $40 billion worth of money, and some of it is line itemed out as unaccounted for or undisclosed recipient, really? As I stated in my video yesterday, if I wrote a line item for, let's say, I don't know, $25,000 on my IRS tax return and said undisclosed recipient and told the IRS you don't have any business knowing what that is, while I agree with that statement, do you think they would be okay with that? These people think we should be okay with that. Now let me bring some other things to your attention about this glorious U.S. aid and some of the embezzlement efforts that it's been involved in over the years. USAID's embezzlement of taxpayer dollars. I remind you guys, this is our money. The government makes nothing. The government has no money that they did not steal from us. They built a fake Cuban Twitter called Zunzunio to lure in young users and feed them anti-government content to spark protests in Cuba. It was funded in secret through shell companies via USAID funding. The plan collapsed whenever it was exposed. USAID funneled millions to opposition groups in an attempt to overthrow Hugo Chavez and Nicolas Maduro. It trained activists, bankrolled anti-government media, and was linked to the failed 2002 coup against Chavez. USAID played a key role in the 2014 coup in Ukraine. Before Euromaidan, USAID and the National Endowment for Democracy poured money into opposition groups and the media. Leaked calls showed U.S. officials handpicking Ukraine's post-coup leaders. Evo Morales kicked USAID out of Bolivia after catching them funding separatist movements in Bolivia's richest provinces. USAID was fueling a breakaway movement to weaken Morales in a typical divide and rule scheme in Bolivia. And that's not all. USAID helped overthrow Haiti's elected leader, Jean-Bertrand Aristide, in 1991 by backing opposition groups and death squads. His life was only saved by the intervention of U.S., French, and Venezuelan diplomats. USAID pumped millions into media campaigns and opposition groups against Salvador Allende in Chile, all before Pinochet's CIA-backed coup. They created economic chaos to justify the coup and then backed a brutal dictatorship. By the way, a lot of this information comes from James Lee, just so you guys know. So that's more of what we continue to uncover from U.S. aid. Again, nothing but a piggy bank of corruption the whole way through. Now, Carolyn Leavitt, the White House spokesperson, she had a couple things to add to that they uncovered today.
through USAID over the past several years, these are some of the insane priorities that organization has been spending money on. $1.5 million to advance DEI in Serbia's workplaces, $70,000 for a production of a DEI musical in Ireland, $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. I don't know about you, but as an American taxpayer, I don't want my dollars going towards this crap, and I know the American people don't either, and that's exactly what Elon Musk has been tasked by President Trump to do, to get the fraud, waste, and abuse out of our federal government.
Transgender comic books and transgender... what the hell is a transgender opera? It is a bunch of drag queens up there singing in really deep voices, dressed in dresses with lipstick. It's a freaking mental health convention. But I wanted to save this clip for last of Jamie Raskin. Pay attention to what he says at the very end.
I'm hearing from my constituents who work for USAID and USAID contractors in Maryland, in Washington, all over the world, and they're telling us that this is a killer in terms of their cutoff of HIV and AIDS preemption. It's a killer in terms of anti-malarial education. It's a killer in terms of all of the efforts to shut down global viruses.
You pick up on that? They try to get everybody's attention now, like we're going to fall for it again, by using viruses. They felt like they had a stranglehold on the entire world for a while there, and people have waken up since then, but they're using this same playbook again. So to protect their gravy train, they're going to somehow tell you that, oh, we're not going to be able to do what we've been doing all this time to save you and to keep you healthy and protect you from these evil viruses. These are evil viruses that our own tax dollars created. And guess what? Even through U.S. aid, we created many of these same viruses, including the one in 2020 that put a stranglehold on the entire government with none other than Dr. Anthony Fauci. Fauci's NIAID and USAID sent over $40 million in U.S. taxpayer support to a scientist in Wuhan who was working on, get this, bat coronavirus emergence. This was research that he sent money to. And guess what? That scientist in Wuhan who was working on the bat coronavirus emergence was also patient zero with COVID-19. You understand what I'm saying here, right? USAID, along with Fauci and his own group, sent $40 million to Wuhan to do experiments on gain of function to create these viruses that are not natural. And the scientist they sent the money to was the guy, patient zero, the first person to get COVID. We paid for that. We paid for 2020. We paid for 2021. We paid for all these slaves running around with masks that are still doing it in some cases. We paid for that. We funded that. But we didn't do that collectively as an eager group, talking about us, the taxpayers. We were duped into paying for that because they stole our money, gave it to an organization called USAID, and they sent it out with no oversight. I might remind you that there was nobody overseeing this organization. I'm talking about a cabinet level position. That's why they're so mad right now, because they're taking USAID and sliding it under Marco Rubio for the Secretary of State. Now there will be a person responsible for any distribution of money out there. And they're angry about that because before there was nobody. No one was held to account for where this money went and why it went. Now, whether he likes it or not, that's going to be Marco Rubio. This is an organization that needs to be gutted. And one last thing I'd like to share with you guys. They are trying now, I'm talking about the deep state, the dark people out there, and more right now it's the Democrats, like it's literally all the Democrats. Notice how none of these programs, I understand both sides, Democrats, Republicans, were involved in this. in this paper trail that I've found from USAID, it's literally all Democrats who are getting money from it. Did you see any Republicans in that group with Jamie Raskin? Did you see any? It was all Democrats. There's no Republicans speaking out, and I saw no evidence of Republicans benefiting financially from any of this. Now, granted, all the coups and the destabilization and all that, yeah, Republicans are getting kickbacks on all that. I'm not saying that their hands are clean on all this. What I'm saying is they're not bold enough, at least, to put their names on the bank accounts that this money's actually going into right now. But the sad and disgusting thing is they have found that there are some very smart young men that Elon Musk has handpicked. When I say young men, I'm talking about 20 to 25-year-old young men who are apparently phenoms, very smart young men that Elon Musk has gotten to assist them in the DOGE efforts to dig into stuff. They're literally sleeping at this office right now, working 120-hour weeks to go through all this waste, fraud, and spending irregularities. In fact, there's word that one of them, not Elon, but one of the other young men, is working for free right now. The far left is trying to dox these young men. I've seen reports earlier today that there are people in the Democrat Party who have found out who these young men are and are doxing them by sharing all of their personal information, where they live, where their families live, and all that information online for whatever reason you might think. That really shows you who's benefiting the most. When you have somebody screaming and crying that loud about a gravy train being removed, something that's stealing our money and spending it frivolously across the entire globe, when you have a subset of people who are lighting their hair on fire because they're so mad, that's who's stealing the money.